Imagine an empire that conquered more land in just 25 years than mighty Rome managed in 4 centuries. It almost sounds like a legend, something out of a fantastical tale, doesn't it? But this is no myth. This is the true story of the Mongols, a people who rose from obscurity to dominate the world stage. Yet, that's the story of the Mongols. Against all odds, they transformed themselves from scattered tribes into a force that would change history forever. Their beginnings were humble, just scattered nomadic tribes eking out a living on the harsh, unforgiving Mongolian steppe. There were no grand cities, no written language, and no promise of greatness. Life was about survival, moving with the seasons and enduring the elements. But in a single generation, everything changed. These tribes united, and together they redrew the map of the world, forging the largest land empire history has ever seen, an empire that would stretch across continents and reshape civilizations. At the heart of this transformation was one extraordinary man, Temujin, who would become known as Genghis Khan. He achieved the impossible, uniting warring clans, forging them into a disciplined, unstoppable force that shattered ancient empires from the heart of China all the way to the edges of Europe. The Mongol Empire stretched from the Pacific Ocean to the Danube River, connecting millions of people across a vast tapestry of cultures, languages, and landscapes. Trade, ideas, and technology flowed along these new routes, forever altering the course of history. Before Genghis Khan, Mongol was just another tribal name, lost among countless others, all locked in endless cycles of conflict and rivalry. No one could have predicted the storm that was about to sweep across the world. The idea that these feuding, scattered groups could ever threaten the world's great civilizations was laughable, until Temujin's vision and determination changed everything. He saw unity where others saw only division. He built his new empire on loyalty and merit, not birthright or noble blood. By forging a new identity and purpose, he inspired his people to look beyond their differences and work together for something greater than themselves. Genghis Khan gave his people the world to conquer, and in doing so, left an indelible mark on every major civilization of the 13th century. The legacy of the Mongol Empire still echoes through history, a testament to what can happen when unity, vision, and ambition collide. Temujin's early life was marked by hardship and violence. His father, a tribal chief, was poisoned by rivals when Temujin was just a boy, leaving his family vulnerable and alone. Cast out by their own clan, Temujin, his mother, and siblings were forced to survive on the unforgiving steppe, enduring hunger, cold, and the constant threat of enemies. Every day was a struggle, and the family's very existence hung by a thread. From a young age, Temujin learned to fight for every scrap of food, to hunt with skill and patience, and to trust no one lightly. He endured betrayal by supposed friends and even spent time in captivity, chained and humiliated but never broken. His rise wasn't a single heroic moment, but a relentless climb. He built alliances with powerful leaders, proved himself in battle, and rewarded loyalty and talent over bloodlines. Temujin's vision was bigger than any one tribe. By welcoming warriors from every background, Temujin's merit-based system attracted the strongest and most skilled from across the steppes, breaking down old divisions and forging a new sense of unity. He reorganized his army, mixing men from different clans and families, forging loyalty not just to their kin, but to their unit and to him personally. This new structure made his forces more loyal, disciplined, and effective than any before. By 1206, after years of brutal warfare, Temujin had defeated all rivals, including his childhood friend and greatest adversary, Jamukha. The steppe was finally united under one banner. At a great Kurultai, a council of all the tribes, Temujin was proclaimed Genghis Khan, universal ruler of the Mongols. It was a moment that would change the course of history. No longer just a clan leader, he now commanded a new nation, forged in the fires of hardship, ambition, and unwavering loyalty. With the steppes united behind him, Genghis Khan turned his gaze outward, dreaming of conquest beyond the horizon. The world beyond Mongolia had no idea what was coming. An unstoppable force was about to be unleashed. The age of the Mongols had begun, and nothing would ever be the same. The Mongol army was unlike anything the world had seen, built for speed, surprise, and total conquest. Their rise was swift and relentless, leaving kingdoms and empires scrambling to defend themselves against a force that seemed to appear out of nowhere. Each soldier had several horses, allowing them to travel up to 100 miles a day, appearing where least expected. This mobility gave them a huge advantage. letting them outpace and outmaneuver any enemy. Their horses were not just transportation but partners in battle, trained for endurance and agility. Their tactics were brilliant. Feigned retreats lured enemies into traps. Then the main force struck from the flanks or rear. The Mongols mastered psychological warfare, making their enemies doubt every move and second-guess their own strategies. Discipline and communication were key. Flags, horns, and signal arrows coordinated complex maneuvers. Orders could be relayed across vast distances in moments, keeping the army unified even in the chaos of battle. The army was organized in units of 10, 100, 1,000, and 10,000, making command efficient. This structure allowed for flexibility and quick responses, with every soldier knowing their role and place. Mongol intelligence was unmatched. They sent spies ahead, bribed rivals, and exploited weaknesses. Scouts mapped enemy territory, gathered information, and reported back, ensuring the Mongols were always one step ahead. They quickly mastered siege warfare, capturing engineers and artisans to build catapults and battering rams. No technology was beyond their reach. They adapted and improved every tool of war they encountered. No city was safe, even the strongest walls fell. The Mongols laid siege to cities thought impregnable, breaking through with relentless determination and innovative tactics. The Mongols didn't just win battles. They shattered entire armies and empires. Their victories sent shockwaves across continents, changing the fate of nations. Their speed, discipline, and adaptability made them unstoppable. Whether crossing deserts, mountains, or rivers, the Mongols adjusted their tactics to every challenge. The world's old military playbook was obsolete. Traditional armies could not keep up with the Mongols' innovation and ruthlessness. The Mongols rewrote the rules of war, leaving a legacy that would influence military strategy for centuries to come. Mongol warriors and their horses were a single, unstoppable unit. From childhood, they mastered riding and archery, able to fight, eat, and sleep in the saddle. Their small, tough horses could survive anywhere, giving the Mongols unmatched mobility. The composite bow was their secret weapon, powerful, accurate, and deadly from horseback. Light armor made them fast and resilient, while each warrior carried multiple weapons and his own supplies. They perfected tactics like the Parthian shot, firing backward while retreating, turning pursuit into disaster for their enemies. The Mongol cavalry was mobile artillery, raining arrows before closing in for the kill. Their approach was practical, efficient, and devastatingly effective. Against this new kind of warfare, the old world had no answer. After uniting the Mongols, Genghis Khan set his sights on powerful neighbors. His campaigns in China honed Mongol siege skills, but the real turning point was the war against the Khwarezmian Empire. Genghis Khan wanted trade, not war, but the Khwarezmian Sultan killed his envoys, a fatal mistake. In 1219, the Mongols invaded with overwhelming force, splitting their army to confuse and outmaneuver the enemy. Genghis himself led a legendary march through the desert, striking deep behind enemy lines. Cities that resisted were destroyed, populations massacred. Samarkand, Bukhara, and Urgench, centers of culture, were left in ruins. The Sultan died a fugitive, his empire shattered in less than 2 years. The Mongols' speed, strategy, and ruthlessness sent shockwaves across Asia and Europe. The message was clear: resist and face annihilation. The world would never be the same. After the conquests, a new era dawned, the Pax Mongolica. For the first time, a single power controlled the Silk Road, bringing peace and stability from China to the Black Sea. The Mongols valued trade and taxed prosperity, so they made the roads safe. Relay stations, or yam, spanned the empire, stocked with fresh horses and supplies for messengers and merchants. With a Mongol passport, you could travel the length of Eurasia swiftly and safely. This security sparked a boom in trade, technology, and cultural exchange. Gunpowder, the compass, and printing moved west. Persian science and art flowed east. The Mongols practiced religious tolerance, welcoming priests, monks, and scholars of all faiths. Their court became a melting pot of cultures and ideas. The world grew smaller, more connected, and more dynamic than ever before. The Mongols were shaped by their environment, nomads whose lives revolved around their herds and the open steppe. They lived in portable yurts, moving with the seasons, valuing mobility and resilience. Wealth was measured in livestock, not land. Daily life was communal. Men herded and fought, women managed households and held real authority. Their diet was simple: meat, dairy, and arag, fermented mare's milk. Nothing was wasted, every part of the animal had a use. This lifestyle made them natural warriors. Every man a skilled rider and archer, every family ready to move at a moment's notice. Their herds traveled with the army, making them self-sufficient and mobile. The Mongol way of life was their greatest military asset. It was a culture built for conquest. The Mongols didn't just reopen the Silk Road, they transformed it into a global superhighway. Trade between East and West became faster, safer, and more profitable than ever. The Mongols protected merchants, punished bandits, and built infrastructure to support commerce. The Yam relay system sped goods and people across continents. They standardized weights, measures, and even experimented with paper money. Mongol demand for luxury goods fueled a boom in production and trade. Europeans gained direct access to Eastern goods and ideas, inspiring the Age of Discovery. The exchange was two-way. European skills and knowledge traveled east, while Asian science and technology moved west. The Mongol Empire became a bridge, connecting and enriching civilizations. The world was on the path to globalization. The Mongol Empire didn't last forever, but its impact echoes through history. Its immediate legacy was destruction. Cities razed, populations decimated. But the Mongols also built connections, creating the largest free trade zone the world had ever seen. The Pax Mongolica enabled the transfer of goods, ideas, and technologies that would shape the modern world. Gunpowder, the compass, and printing reached Europe, fueling its rise. Mongol rule influenced Russia, China, and military strategy worldwide. They shattered the old order and created a new, interconnected world. The Mongols proved that vision, organization, and will could change history. Our globalized world is, in many ways, a distant echo of the empire they built.